Good afternoon, students. A warm welcome to Sri Ramanuja Vidya Mandir. Well, back to our grammar class. We are getting along with direct and indirect speech, that is reported speech. So today we will get along with imperative sentences. So we'll see what actually these imperative sentences are. Imperative sentences are sentences that give an order or a direct command. These sentences may be in the shape of advice, entreaty, request, or order. Advice, entreaty, request, or order. So when you are making an order, when you are making a request, or when you are advising somebody, these kind of sentences are called imperatives. I've explained you the 4 kinds of sentences. So imperative sentences, if you get imperative sentences in direct speech, how to change them into indirect speech is today's class. So these sentences may be in the shape of advice, entreaty, request, or order. Mostly it depends upon the forcefulness of the speaker. Thus, a full stop or a sign of exclamation is used at the end of the sentence. The examples of declarative sentences are: shut the door. I'm ordering somebody. You know, I've just now told you the way the sentences, the way they are spoken, it is on the forcefulness of the speaker. What does that mean? Say, for example, shut the door. If I'll say shut the door, it is a request, shut the door. Or supposing I give an advice saying shut the door, or if I say shut the door, the forcefulness of the speaker will make a dialogue. It can be a request, it can be a command, or it can be a request, an advice or an entreaty. So these kind of sentences are called as imperatives. Generally for request we use please. So we understand it's a request. Please shut the door. Repair the door by tomorrow, an entreaty. Now shut the door is an order. To convert these type of sentences into indirect speech, follow the following rules along with the above mentioned rules. Follow the following rules with the above mentioned rules. What is the above mentioned rules? I already explained you how to change personal pronouns. If there is first person in the reported, that means in the inverted commas. If there is first person in the reported, then the first person will be based on the subjective case of the reporting. If there is second person in the reported, then it will be based on the objective case. If there is third person, no change. Verbs. If there is say, that means present tense or future tense, say or will say, in the reporting, that means outside the inverted commas, then the reporting will have no change in verbs. But if there is said, that means outside the inverted commas in the reporting speech, if there is said, past tense, then the reported tense will change, reported verb will change. How will the verb change, in what tense? All the present tense will become past tense. I repeat, present simple will become past simple, present continuous will become past continuous, present perfect will become past perfect, and present perfect continuous will become past perfect continuous. Then past simple will become past perfect, past continuous will become past perfect continuous. Then past perfect will be past perfect continuous will be past perfect continuous. And for future tense, will become would, can will become could, may will become might, shall will become should. That's all you have to remember. So I've told you in the previous classes, change in verbs, change in personal pronouns, change in words. In the last class I've told you this will become that, tonight will become that night, yesterday will become the previous day. Okay, so remembering all the above mentioned rules. These are the above mentioned rules. Again and again I will not repeat. So these rules you have to bear, and extra rules you have. What are the The reporting verb is changed according to reported speech in order in case the sentence gives a direct command. I repeat, the reporting verb is changed according to the reported speech into order. Okay, the reporting verb. What is reporting verb? Outside the inverted commas. The reporting verb is changed according to the reported speech into order in case the sentence gives a direct command. So example, the teacher said to me, shut the door. This is an order. The teacher said to me, shut the door. So the teacher ordered. Said to is going to become ordered. The teacher ordered me to shut. So instead of that, you will use to. For declaratives, you will use that. For imperatives, you will use to. To shut the door. Okay? For declaratives, what will you use, students? You will use that. But for imperatives, you will use to, not that. To shut the door. The reporting verb is changed according to the reported speech into request. You are changing into request in case the sentence makes a request. For example, he said to me, please shut the door. He requested me to shut the door. So the change is only here. He requested me to shut the door. Did you understand, students? So indirect speech said to will become requested. And there will be no exclamatory marks. There will be no exclamatory marks. There will be only full stops. So imperatives are changed into assertives in the indirect speech. Okay. The reporting verb is changed according to reported speech into advise in case the sentence gives a piece of advice. He said to me, you shall work hard to pass the exam. He's advising. You shall work hard to pass the exam. So, because it's a piece of advice, you are going to write, he advised me. Said to will change into advice. Now, because it is said to, remember students, this is past tense. So this is also going to be past tense. Supposing he says to me, he advises me. Did you understand? Supposing there is, instead of said to, supposing this is says. He says to me. Then this is going to be, he advises me. It is going to become advises. He says to me, you shall work hard to pass the exam. He advises me that I shall. If it is says, it will become shall. I shall work hard to pass the exam. But here you are given said. So because it is a past tense, here you have used past tense, and here also you have used past tense. Shall will become should. He advised me that I should work hard to pass the exam. The reporting verb is changed according to reported speech into forbade in case the sentence prevents someone from doing something. For example, in the direct speech, he said to me, "Don't smoke." He forbade me to smoke. Okay? So, said to is going to become forbade, means avoid. Somebody is controlling you, avoiding you. So, that's called forbade. He forbade, sorry students. It is not forbade, it's forbaded. He forbaded. You should have a D over here. He forbaded me to smoke. Because it's said, past tense, it should be forbaded. He forbaded me to smoke. Next one. You have a comparison of direct indirect side by side. So the verbs I've used in pink color and the reporting verbs in pink color and the reported verbs in red color. We said to him. So said is past tense. We'll use some other color here. Said is past tense. So because it's past tense, here you have to use past tense urged. We said to him, "Mind your own business." We urged him to mind his own business. So mind is going to become to mind. Instead of that, to is used. I've told you in imperative sentences you have to use to mind. Now another thing what I've not changed is your, second person. First person will follow the subjective case. Second person will follow the objective case. We said to him. Second person will follow the objective case. What is objective case? Third person, masculine gender. So here also you should have third person masculine gender. Here also your, mind your own business. We urged him is here, to mind his, third person masculine gender. We urged him to mind his own business. She said to him, "Consult a doctor." She suggested him to consult a doctor. So consult a doctor here in the reported, there is no personal pronoun. So she suggested him to consult a doctor. So to consult, said is changed into suggested. She gave a suggestion. So it's suggested. He said to me, "Write it again." He asked me to write it again. He said to me is going to be changed as asked. He asked me to write it again. Okay, so to is added. Instead of that, we are going to use to. You said to your father, "Please grant him leave for some time." So, please, whenever there is please, you are going to write requested. You requested your father to grant. So, the verb grant is going to become to grant. Him, in the inverted commas, there is third person. So, there is no change in third person. Him will be him only. Leave for some time. My mother said to me, "Never tell a lie." My mother forbade me to tell a lie. Means she avoided me to tell a lie. Okay, students? So I suppose you can understand when you're changing, apply the rules very, very carefully. The previous rules along with these rules. Now coming to interrogative sentences. What is an interrogative sentence, students? A question mark. So when we are getting along with interrogative sentences, what are the rules we have to follow? Those sentences which ask questions are called interrogative sentences. Sentences which are asking questions are called interrogative sentences. Every interrogative sentence ends with a sign of interrogation. What is the sign of interrogation? That's the sign of interrogation. So every interrogative sentence ends a sign of interrogation. Do you live here? Have you ever watched Terminator 3 movie? Is it raining? So there are various, these are the questions. Now, as I've already told you, there are two types of interrogatives. One is information questions, other one is true or false questions. What is information questions? When, why, where, how, who, which is also called as WH questions. WH questions means they seek information. Where did he go? My answer can't be yes. My answer can't be no. I have to give an information of where he went. So these are called information questions or WH questions. The other one is yes or no questions or true or false questions. So for these questions, the answer is either going to be yes or going to be no. So here we have the true or false questions or the yes or no questions. These are yes or no questions, students. Okay, so we'll see what with the interrogative sentences. Now, what is interrogative sentences? Those sentences which ask questions are called interrogative sentences. So you know the interrogative sentences, students. When I was explaining you the four types of sentences: declarative, imperative, interrogative, exclamatory. I've used these sentences even in tenses. I've used it even in active and passive voice. So here we are with the direct, indirect speech, that's reported speech. So interrogative sentences are sentences which ask questions. So those sentences which ask questions are called interrogative sentences. Every interrogative sentence ends at a sign of interrogation. Every interrogative sentence ends with a sign of interrogation. What is a sign of interrogation? We call it question mark. This is interrogative sign. What is interrogative sign? It's a question mark. So remember, students, whenever you are writing interrogative sentences, you use a question mark at the end. Now, examples. Do you live here? Have you ever watched Terminator 3 movie? Is it raining? Now, students, you must have remembered, I've told you in the previous class, there are two types of interrogations or two types of interrogatives. What are the two types of interrogatives? Type 1 in type 1, and type 2. Now in type 1, the interrogative sentences ask or answer yes or no. And these are called true or false interrogatives, or they are called yes or no interrogatives. Okay, they are either called true or false interrogatives. They are called true or false interrogatives, or they are called yes, no interrogatives. Okay, so you must have understood, students, the two types of interrogatives. The two types of interrogatives are true, false, yes, no. Okay. So, here we are with type 1, that is true or false interrogative. Or we can also say yes, no interrogatives. In the type 2, what is the type 2 students? That is WH interrogatives. We also call it WH interrogatives. Or you can also call them as information questions. You will either call them as WH interrogatives or you will call them as information interrogatives. Now let me explain you these two types. Now look into the questions given over here on this slide. You have, do you live here? The question is, do you live here? Your answer is either yes or no. But supposing I ask you a question, where do you live? Supposing I ask a question, where do you live? Answer is very simple, students. You have to give some information. You can't say yes, you can't say no. Where do you live? I live in Visakhapatnam, I live in Andhra Pradesh, I live in India. So an information is required over here. Some information is required. Now I suppose you understood the difference between type 1 and type 2. Look into the next one. Have you ever watched Terminator 3 movie? Your answer can be yes, your answer can be no. Is it raining? Your answer can be yes, your answer can be no. So, we also call them as auxiliary interrogatives. Means we use is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had. Auxiliary interrogatives. We also call them as. So this is one type of interrogatives. Do you live here? Have you ever watched Terminator 3 movie? Is it raining? So this is called type 1 interrogatives. So the other type 2, this is type 1 and that is type 2. Okay, this is type 1 and this is type 2. Where do you live? Which movie did you watch? How is the weather outside? So these are the type 2 interrogatives. So now let us look into the rules. To convert interrogative sentence into indirect speech, follow the following rules along with the above mentioned rules. What are the above mentioned rules, students? You already know. You have to change. What are the above mentioned rules, students? You have to change the personal pronouns you have to change the personal pronouns, you have to change the tenses, and you also have to change the words, places, time, etc. So do you remember? I've explained you all these things in the previous class. When I'm explaining you declaratives, I've explained you. So remember, along with these, now whatever rules I will tell you in future, that also you have to remember. These are mandatory. Personal pronouns changing, tenses changing, words, place, time, etc. changing. All this must be there. Along with that, you have some other rules which you have to follow. So let us see what those rules are. The reporting verb said to is changed into asked. Now what is reporting verb? I've told you, students, the clause which is outside the inverted commas is called reporting. The reporting verb is changed into asked. Whenever you have a question, you have to use asked. You said to me, have you read the article? So here you can see, students, said is changed into asked. Can you see? You said to me. You asked me. So the first rule is the reporting verb said to is changed into asked. Now the second one, if the reporting speech is having the true or false questions at its start, then if is used in place of that. I've just now explained you what is true or false questions. It is type 1 interrogatives. That means the questions will only answer yes or no. So this is called true or false questions. So whenever you have true or false questions asked, remember mandatory is if. You have to use if. Have you read the article? Your answer is yes or your answer is no. So if these kind of questions are asked, and if this is a direct speech, have you read the article? Your indirect speech is going to be, you asked me if I had read the article. So you can see have is changed into if. The next rule. If the reporting speech is having interrogative words like who, when, how, why, where. I'm sorry, students. This is supposed to be where, who, where, how, why, when. Supposing the reporting speech is having interrogative questions with, or you can say WH interrogatives, or you can say type 2 interrogatives. This is type 1 interrogative. This is type 2 interrogative. Supposing you are having type 2 interrogatives, type 2 interrogatives are information answering questions or WH questions. Then no words have to be added. I repeat, if the reporting speech is having interrogative words like who, where, how, why, when, then neither if is used nor any other word is added. Nothing is added. Can you see? She says, who is he? She asks who he is. So who is changed into who only. Nothing else is added. Now a full stop is placed at the end of the sentence instead of a mark of interrogative. What is a mark of interrogative? Question mark. What is the mark of interrogative? It's a question mark. So instead of a mark of interrogative, you have to use full stops. So remember, everywhere you have full stops in the indirect speech. There is nowhere a question mark. Can you see? Here you have question marks. Can you see? But here you only have full stops. So these are the rules which you have to follow. Now look into the sentences, students. Along with the previous rules, keeping the previous rules in brain, we are adding these rules of interrogatives. You said to me, as I've already told you, said to will be changed into asked. You said to me, have you read the article? Have is a yes or no question. So if is placed. Okay. Have you read the article? You asked me if I had read the article. Okay. Now you. You is second person. I've told you personal pronouns to be changed, tenses to be changed, and time, place, words must be changed. So you is second person. So as per rule, second person will follow the objective case. You is the subjective case and me is the objective case. So me is first person. So I have here first person. Can you see? It's first person. Now read. Read is past simple. It's past tense. So what is going to happen? Past will become perfect tense. So I had read. So it's past perfect. So keeping the previous rules also you will have to write. So you asked me if I had read the article. He said. Said is going to be changed into asked. Will. This is also a yes or no question. Will you go? You will say yes or you will say no. So it is going to be if. Will change it to if. He said to her, will you? Again you. Second person. Second person means it will take the objective case. Her is third person singular. Okay, it's third person singular. Third person singular. So what is third person singular? She. Third person singular. Okay, her is in the objective case. So I have written her. Subjective case is she. She, her, hers. Like that we are going to change, no? So he said to her, will you go to the Peshawar radio station? He asked her if she, go is present tense. What is, sorry, here not present tense students. Okay. So here you can see will. Will is future tense. So will is changed into would. I have told you the rule. So he said to her, will you go to the Peshawar railway station? He asked her if she would go to the Peshawar railway station. Next one, she says, who is he? She asks who he is. So he, third person, will be third person only. First person will become subjective case, second person will become objective case, third person no change. So third person is third person. And when you are asking a question, you will say who he is. When you are writing a declarative, you will say who he is. Sorry, who is he? Who he is. So I told you, okay, when you are writing, I am eating. This is a question answer. How are you going to change this into question? Am I eating? So it's interchanged. Am I right? In the same way, is he is going to change into he is. So that's all. Next one, Rashid said. Said is going to become asked. Said to me, why are you late? You is going to become the objective case. That means I. Why I was late. Are present tense. Was past tense. Present tense will become past tense. Why I was late. So there is no if because it is a WH question. So now you must have understood, students, how we are going with. Here we have few examples. I said to her, when do you do your homework? I asked her when she did her homework. So WH questions again will be WH questions. Said to is going to become asked. You is going to become objective case, and so you have she. We said to him, are you ill? This is a yes and no question. So because this is an yes and no question, you have if. Said to is going to become asked. We asked him if you, second person. Second person is going to become objective case. What is the objective case? Him, third person. So he. Are is going to become past tense, was. Present tense will change into past tense, so it became was. So he said to him, are you ill? He asked him if he was ill. So next we'll have the exclamatory sentences in the next record. Till then, have a nice time. Thank you, students.